Truth Seeker. Apologies for starting the stream a little bit late. Didn't get back home as soon as I anticipated. I want to talk about why Trump is talking to Zelensky in a virtual meeting while Zelensky's in Berlin on the anniversary of the start of construction for the Berlin Wall. And if you've been here 10 years ago in 2015, when Trump first started running and was talking endlessly about building a wall, we were actually talking about the start of construction with the Berlin Wall, what it had to do with JFK's speech at the Berlin Wall not long before his assassination, which they say is the weirdest speech he ever gave, where he tried to speak in German and said something about donuts, which he didn't mean to say. But it's literally 10 years later, and they're pretty much doing the exact same thing that they were doing 10 years ago. Again, the election was called for Donald Trump in 2016 in the early hours of November 9th, the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. And keep in mind, he runs on the same thing as Reagan, MAGA, the highest degree of the Church of Satan. And, of course, both Hollywood actors, Reagan and Trump. California, where the Church of Satan comes from, like Hollywood. But again, it was Reagan who said, tear down that wall before it came down November 9th, 89, 27 years to the day of the election being called for Trump. So we're going to talk more about this. Again, Zelensky's in Berlin, a meeting for the European Union. It just couldn't be any more ritualistic. And we're going to see just how perfect it is and how it supports the theory that I've been putting forward for a long time. Again, if you've read my 2017 book, Letters and Numbers, it's nearly 800 pages. Page 29, I say it's quite clear that it is the Jesuits behind all of this ritualism who work on behalf of the Catholic Church. And again, a lot of people don't even realize simple things like we are on the Jesuit order's calendar. Yes, it is their calendar. They created it. They're the reason that today is August 13th, 2025, the 64th anniversary of the Berlin Wall construction starting. And of course, 64 is when Trump started his Jesuit education. You think about 64, you probably think of a chessboard. These people are making moves on the world stage, and they are probably 64 moves ahead of us as the world just continues to march along with the daily ritualism that is also part of a massive lie that exploits us all and takes us closer and closer to destruction as a people every single day. So I want to talk about that, but I also want to share with you something I learned, and I wish I had learned this a long time ago. I would encourage everybody to do this exercise. It's awesome. I recently got one of those watches, and I don't know exactly how accurate they are, but they, measure your heart rate and your steps and how many calories you've burned. And the one I have, it shows just how many you're burning naturally, whether you're sitting or standing. Plus, if you're doing additional exercise, how much you're burning on top of that. And like I said, I just got a gym membership at the start of this week. And day one, in an hour and 20 minutes from the exercise, I burned a little more than 300 calories. Yesterday, I went for a shorter leg day, and in 45 minutes, I burned 300 calories. You're going hard on the legs, you got bigger muscles, so it's easier to burn more calories faster. The first day, I did more of a all-around top day, upper part of the body. Day two, did legs. I was feeling pretty sore last night, so I was thinking about taking the day off. A lot of people say when you're over 40, you should take a lot of rest days. Yours truly is 42. But, and I haven't been in the gym in forever. Not since I really blew out my shoulder way back when, but that was before I turned 30. But anyway, I saw this exercise last night on social media, and it was just so simple, and it had all this high praise, and I thought, man, it makes a lot of sense. I got to go to the gym and try it out today. And really, I could do it in my own house. I just don't have as heavy a weights. But it's just called the Farmer's Walk. If you have not heard of this exercise, it's as simple as walking with weights. It's called the Farmer's Walk. It is glorious. I did it for a full hour today, and I took a few breaks, and I just did squats with a bar with high reps. I did four sets of 50 squats, just holding the 45-pound bar for my little breaks. That was my break. I tried to keep it moving the whole time. But the heaviest, what are they called? Cowbells? Not cowbells. What do they call them? Can't even think what the damn thing's called right now. You know what I mean, though. The heaviest ones they had at this gym. I wish they had heavier ones. The other gyms I've been to have had I can't believe I can't think of what the damn thing's called right now. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. kettlebells. That's what I mean, kettlebells. The heaviest ones they have at this gym are just a little bit more than 65 pounds. I think they were 65.2 pounds or something. And then the next ones down were 50, I think they 56 point something, and then 40. So anyway, what I did is I just, there's a long strip in the gym. And the nice thing about living in this small town is this gym is just empty. There's nobody in this gym, and it's a pretty good size. So it's the most glorious gym I've ever been to in that way. Just every machine is open. No one's there. I was just walking with these things back and forth. And for starting, I could hold these 65-pound kettlebells for, it's funny, when I looked at my watch and I put them down, it was right at 3 minutes, 33 seconds. I said, how perfect is that? 3:33 for the first one. And I had to rest for a second, and I picked them up as quick as I could, and I walked them back to where the other kettlebells were, and then I got the next ones down, and I walked back and forth, and I stopped keeping track of my time. I just went as long as I could. And I did this all the way with some breaks here doing the squats, like I said, all the way down to the smallest kettlebells they had, which were 10 pounds. And by the end, man, the 10 pounds were burning because I did this for a full hour. But the thing I'm saying is I burned 450 calories in that hour, way better than I'd done with either of my workouts. And I am feeling it. I'm feeling it all through my whole body. And it's just so simple. You're just holding the kettlebells and you're walking with good posture. Again, you read the reviews about it. It just says, you're working all your muscles. You're getting your steps in. It is a great workout. And for all you guys who don't like to work out because you feel awkward and you're doing your body, like that's my dad. My dad always said, oh, hey, I hate having to like the form and everything. Hey, if you can walk and you can hold heavy things and you can take little breaks here and there, you got it made. But man, I'd never heard of this simple exercise. And in a way, I'm like, yeah, this just makes so much sense. Imagine you had to carry around your buddy for an hour. Well, by the end, I wasn't carrying my buddy. It was like I was carrying my puppy dog by the end with two 10 pound. But it was crazy that the 10 pounds at the end were just killing my arms. I was like, I gotta put these down. And what was funny is I also tried. So by the end, my hands were so sore. If you've ever done like you grab the bar and you put your knees on the ground and you do like a crunch. I don't know what the technical term is for that, but I always liked that workout. I could not hold the rope. My hands were so sore, so I couldn't do those. And I was like, well, I know I got my workout in. And with that, before we get into today's topic, it just reminded me about something. There's a guy out there. He's having a really tough year. He tried to debate me back in February. He made himself look like an asshole. Poor guy, the next day, he just sat online and played video games all day. And his own audience was like, why are you playing video games? He's like, I feel like playing video games today. Like, it's obvious why he feels like playing video games today. He got his ass handed to him last night. And I wasn't even really trying that hard. I could have been a lot meaner, but, sweet girl and sweet lady were in the other room. And anyway, sometimes I'd like, if you know who I'm talking about, I would like to do that debate over because I would have talked a lot different if nobody else was in this house. Some people appreciate the way I kept it real calm, putting up with him just being a dick, but that's not really the way I like to be. When people are a dick to me, I like to be a dick back, and it's not hard with him. But anyway, like I said, he's having a rough year. He had that day, and then he had a video game day the next day because he was so deflated. And then about a week or two later, he was trying to step up to Sam Cedar, who's midway of a celebrity in this world because he used to be in television, and he had the radio show with Air America Radio for about a decade, and his YouTube channel's blowing up in the last 5 years. I was pointing out how 5 years ago, I was surprised he didn't have a bigger YouTube following. Now he has a massive YouTube following. But of course, he tried to debate Sam Cedar, and then Sam Cedar just pointed out how dumb he was because he didn't even understand what tax brackets are, which shows you a lot of these right-wing grifters online, they really are stupid people. And it's just like how Trump said he's grateful for the dumb ones, the Andrew Wilsons of the world, of course, is who I'm talking about. And then since that happened, the poor guy, it's gone viral that he can't even open a pickle jar. So Andrew Wilson, if you're out there, I highly recommend this exercise to you because no doubt it's going to make your grip stronger. Honestly, I probably couldn't open a pickle jar right now because my hands are so sore. But I have a legitimate excuse. And no doubt once they rest up, this grip's going to be even stronger. But yeah, I got to just play this moment of infamy for this loser who also tried to put down Gematria. This is what a Sant looks like right here. This is absolutely pathetic. And this guy's supposedly the head of the manosphere with this big, nasty gut. This guy's younger than me.
I'm supposed to open the pickle jar?
First of all, who looks younger? Because I'm younger, or he's younger than I am. This guy's younger than me. He looks like he's 10 years older at least.
Sure.
Let's go.
I gotta grip it.
Uh-oh, Andrew.
I got
If you
it.
can't
Grip
open it
it.
either.
Your hand
Man,
greased
it's
the whole
here.
top of it.
It's greasy. Let me
Literally
use my
slippery.
shirt.
Sorry, have you
I'm supposed to open a pickle jar?
Jesus. And it's even a
Grab
small
me a
lid,
paper
too.
towel so I can dry the top of it off.
You're the big, strong man. There you go. Come on.
You're
I
the
can't
big,
grip the
strong
fucker.
man.
Like, I gotta have a way to grip it. I gotta grip it. Try it. You fucker. Oh. Bullshit. I'm supposed to open a pickle jar?
I mean, what a loser, you guys. That's what it is to deny gematria. It's on the same scale. To not be able to open pickle jars, to deny the undeniable. This shit is pathetic, and it is the definition of a SAMF. And if you don't know what a SAMF is, figure out the abbreviation for SAMF, because you were just looking at one. By the way, this might be one of the last streams you ever see me doing sitting down. I'm getting real serious about the fitness thing. I used to be real serious about fitness, and I used to live a lifestyle where I hardly ever sat. And I should have done this a long time ago, but I noticed they sell walking machines with a desk that you can put your computer on, and you can sit there and do all your work while you walk and get your steps in. I'm making it a new goal to have at least 15,000 steps every single day. That should be easy for me because I spend a lot of time behind the computer these days doing this work. And especially in the morning, every morning, decoding sports with football season coming. God, decoding football takes me so long. But the one nice thing about this information age is if you actually use it for good reasons to learn information. I've been learning all kinds of stuff about human health from doctors online, people who put out information. Sitting, it makes sense that it kills your blood flow. For people trying to get in shape, you're sitting too much, it can just ruin the whole thing because the blood's not moving through your body like it's supposed to. You know, your cells aren't getting repaired. You're tearing your muscles up, and then blood's not reaching them, so they don't grow and improve like they're supposed to. So I'm doing a lot of things over here. I'm realizing, I'm a grandpa dad, essentially. That's what I refer to it as, having a little girl that's going to turn 1 in November. I just turned 42, and I do the math on that, and I think, someday there'll be some high school gathering for graduation, and I already know what's going to happen. There'll be the parents like, oh, you're here to see your granddaughter, your grandson? Yeah, not exactly, my youngest one, my little baby, just graduating, I know. But also, you take care of yourself. You look a lot younger, too. And, that's the one thing I have done right in the last 12 years of my life. Again, I've been pretty inactive since I injured myself in 2013. I've still gotten some moderate physical, probably better than the average American, but that's not saying much. The bar's so low. But it's been horrible compared to what it used to be when I was younger. And I fitness was gospel. Eating well, exercising, doing it daily, maybe taking a day off a week, a rare week, 2 days off. I want to get back to doing it every day, especially now that I'm over 40. I mean, I got to make up for lost time. So, and I'd encourage everybody else too. Again, you guys, look at Americans, man. It gets worse and worse with time. Just more death from disease and illness. So many toxins out there. I'd be doing everything you can in your own power, in your own time schedule. And that's the thing too. I was thinking the other day, I was like, God, I'm supposed to be getting in 15 to 20,000 steps a day for optimal performance. I was like, how am I going to do that with all my sitting? And then it's like, wait a minute, there's solutions out there. A walking machine with a desk. I found one with a high review that costs $200. That's probably well worth it. Might save me a massive medical procedure in the future, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I might from now on, from this day forward, as soon as that machine comes, be standing and streaming. And you guys might remember there was actually a period of time where I was talking about how I need to stand more. And what was it? I did like 6 straight months of TFR broadcasts, standing through the whole broadcast, if you were here for that period of time. So I wonder how many people are still here that used to be here. Before I get into this Trump, Zelensky, Berlin thing, right before Trump meets with Alaska on the Jesuit order's birthday, 15/8, 158 years after Russia sold Alaska to the U.S. Before I get into this, I got to see who's been around. Let me see if there's any veterans still around here in this community. Yeah, get a walking pad. That's exactly what I got. A walking pad that has a desk on it. So when you're standing, you can just put your computer up there and put your mic up there and do everything, but instead of sitting, you're walking. So I am absolutely doing that. Let me see if there's anybody in the chat that can answer this question, because I do feel like the whole community that used to be here a decade ago, I don't see anybody around. Unless some of you guys have changed your names. What supposed truther in the YouTube community once did a video saying he could tell that I had man boobs and challenged me to take my shirt off? Does anyone know who that YouTuber is? You know who I know who would know the answer to that? Somebody who is well, actually, they're always lurking, because they always show up anytime I mention their name and be like, yo, somebody just called me that you said my name. It's like, stop acting like you weren't watching the stream. Though I know one person who's lurking right now knows the answer to that question. The man who likes to drive around in his car and talk to himself about nothing. Let me see. Is there anyone who knows the answer to that question? This is probably 2015 or 16-ish. He did a whole video trying to diss me, saying, oh yeah, I'm a fitness pro and I can tell that guy has man boobs, which I've never had man boobs in my life. And let me see. No, it wasn't Russian vids. No, I don't see anybody answering it. Does anybody know the name Meade Ave for truth? And by the way, I did submit to his challenge and just took my shirt off in the next video I did. And he was like, whoa, he's in a lot better shape than I thought he was, you know? And that was only about 2 years removed from working out. But for anyone who's ever worked out, you do know you lose your gains. But I was like, what is this guy talking about? Man boobs. But that's all it took to shut him up. Meade Ave for truth. And I don't even know if he's around. So if you guys are newer to the truth community, you might not even know who that is. But another guy that was always trying to undermine Gematria. And he was kind of like Russian vids in the way Russian vids will sometimes attack my work and say, yeah, Zach's over there talking about all these numbers, but the only number you really need to know is 33. It's like, I think that's a pretty limited thinking that all you need to know is 33. There's a whole lot more going on with these numbers than just 33. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff you get from Russian vids. Another guy who you don't know his name. The Russian vids, of course, did 10 videos when the car crashed through my house saying it was a hoax. Total moron is Russian vids. Flat earther, moron, religious, moron. Thinks Alex Jones is Bill Hicks. I know a lot of you guys think that, but it's pretty moronic, because all you have to do to debunk that is just look at when they were both alive and how much different they looked. Bill Hicks a lot taller than Alex Jones. They looked nothing alike when they were both doing their thing. Totally different body builds. Alex Jones has a lot broader shoulders than Bill Hicks. But have you looked at their teeth zoomed up? Their teeth look similar. It's like, okay. How many people's teeth have you looked at zoomed up that probably have similar looking teeth? If all you had was a photo of my teeth zoomed up, how many other people might I look like? If all you had was my teeth zoomed up. Let's throw out how they have totally different body structures, look totally different alive when they were both alive. Again, ridiculous. But the kind of stuff that the Russian vids of the world promote. They're both connected to Kevin Booth in Austin. Okay, he's in the entertainment business. They're both in Austin. Are Joe Rogan and Elon Musk and who else is down there? Asmongold TV. Are they all the same person because they're all online and in Austin, Texas? Maybe if we zoom in on the teeth of Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, and Asmongold TV, we can prove they're all the same person too. Black Cougar 1959. Black Cougar 1959, are you the person that I gave a bunch of hoodies and books to and ran up the big shot bill in Yakima when you passed through town? Is that you? I don't know if you're the same person, but something tells me you are. Do you drive a Benz? Yeah, exactly. That's the Russian viz level. His name is Hubbard, like L. Ron Hubbard. Yeah, Fatso from Boston. Yeah, I've never heard him called that, but that also works. Okay. Well, Bill Hicks lived a life of, drinking and smoking heavily. I mean, that could do it to you, so. He didn't lie about that. He was not living a very healthy lifestyle. Have you guys ever heard Andrew Wilson talk about that he smokes cigarettes for his personal health? He says he'd be dead if it wasn't for cigarettes. Somehow cigarettes cured some disease inside of him. Wow, is this guy just this full of shit? Yeah, Meg Bitter Truth, another moron in the truth community. Yeah, bam, 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 indeed. Polarization Nation. You've been around for a minute if you know who that is. Yeah, he did the best troll videos of me. Every week he'd have a new edition of who I was. At one point I was the Boston Marathon bomb. I forget all the videos he did. But he was very good with video editing. He'd make my face merge into his, and it was even as I'd watch him be like, God, am I the Boston Marathon bomber? Wow, that was actually halfway convincing. Bill Hicks was overrated. You know, I don't know if that's fair. His Sane Man video is pretty damn funny, and you can watch that on YouTube. Bill Hicks Sane Man. I like when he's imitating Elvis. All right, King Richard knows a lot of my lifelong trolls. King Richard, have you been here long enough though for Matty D for Truth? I wonder if Matty D for Truth is still doing his thing somewhere online. I've already told the story about how we ended up in house number 201. We might not be here for much longer though. If Sweet Lady's work's going under, we might have to relocate. So house 201 might just be a temporary thing. But yeah, it is really wild how I ended up in house 201 while I could not finish my book on 201 after. Again, for those of you who don't know the story, when I was on the road trip in New York, it was September 12th that Sweet Lady called me. We were having a great time, us group of truth seekers on the Yale campus, educating these students, and then Sweet Lady called me all in a panic. Sweet Lady had never driven on the highway in her life. You know, I got her first car once upon a time, and I taught her to drive, and she only really had to drive in the roads back and forth to school and where she had her internship, which wasn't far away. She was never required to go on the highway. But all of a sudden, if you guys remember, September 12th was her first day of work, and I thought she was going to be working where we lived in Yakima, because that's where she was hired to. But on the first day, they sprung on her that they wanted her to work at the location that was 50 miles from Yakima. So that was a day one shocker. So she called me at the end of that day and said, oh my God, Zach, they want me to work at this one, and I have to drive 50 miles on the highway, and I'm freaking out. And then I felt bad for her because she was scared to drive on the highway. So, you know, that night when we were driving back to our hotel, we had the crazy flood weather, and I blew out the tire. And then so I couldn't hit the road right away. I had to wait till the shop opened up in the morning to get the car repaired. But I just drove straight back, and I think I was back. If you guys remember, I made pretty good time getting from New York to Washington. I think I did it in about 48 hours. And keep in mind, that's pretty good because if you just drive nonstop, it's about a 40-hour drive. So I had a few 2-hour power naps here and there, but I got back and started commuting Sweet Lady to work, 50 miles each way for a minute. And she said, we better relocate. We better relocate. So we ended up in this little town, and there were only 2 homes for sale in this town when we moved here. And what was funny is the other one that was for sale had my birthday. The address was 721. I'm born on 721. I actually wanted that house. If it was my choice, that's where we'd live at address 721. But it was funny. Sweet Lady had this paranoid idea because that house was out in the middle of nowhere and it was all dark with no lights on the street. Again, it's small town rural living. She's like, with all the stuff we've had, I don't feel safe being out here. I doubt we'll have an issue, but anyway, she liked this house. It was 201. I just thought, what in the world? How weird is that? I was just on the streets of New York City just a few days ago teaching them about 201 and the 2 towers that became 0 before they became 1. I just saw it as one of those strange synchronicities. It's just like I've told you guys 1,000 times where I lived in this house. I'll be doing a presentation all day. It'll be like 45 date numerology. There's 545 stories. sweet lady and I'll go out to eat, which we hardly ever do, and they'll give me the order number, and it'll be order number 45, and I'll be like, how weird is that? Did I manifest the number 45? I mean, I'm talking about 45 all day, and now I got order number 45, so. But yeah, and again, the only reason anyone knows that I live in house 201 is because I shared that story when we moved here. So for all you guys who like circulate, like, oh, did you know that Zach lives in house 201? Like, yeah. How did that information get out there? Oh, because I shared it. So, I don't think it's that they got me where they wanted me. I think it's just one of those, again, synchronicities, the synchronicities of life. It's just like today, you know, it's like I put down this crazy weight and it just happens to be 333 right on the watch. You look at like, what are the odds of that? 333, today's date numerology is 3. So. There's been an alleged dogman sighting. Did you guys know that the original Bigfoot superstition comes out of Yakima, Washington? If you trace the roots of that, again, it's a Pacific Northwest thing, but yeah. Anyway, let's talk about today's big story. Zelensky is in Berlin with members of the European Union having a virtual meeting with Trump to prep him for his big meeting with Putin on August 15th, the Jesuit order's birthday. So in light of everything we teach about with the Jesuits running the show and the repetitive numbers like 201, we're going to look at how today's the 201st day of Zelensky's age. Remember, people on the world stage performing the 201s is different than somebody living at address 201. And what's crazy is they built a new home in this town that I live in that's about 3 miles from here. I don't know what it is. I'd have so many free packages, but I should start running there. God, I'd be a marathon runner because it's about 3 miles from here, but there's a new house that they built about 9 months ago, and these people order packages from Amazon all the time, and they all get delivered to my house. Well, I shouldn't say all, but it seems like they do. It's like every other day I'm getting their packages here. And I can give them back to the FedEx driver, but what one of them told me is they said, well, when you give it back to us, we just have to send it back. We can't deliver it to the right address now. So once they told me that, I just been like, okay, these people probably want their packages. So I'm like on best friends with the other 201 house that's 3 miles from here. Anyway, guys, today, the 13th of August. And remember, in 2 days, on August 15th, it's the day leaving 138 days left in the year. So today, Zelensky, who turned 47 5 days after Trump took office as number 47, having this virtual meeting with Trump. Okay? Donald Trump, 138. And notice from Trump's birthday to today is 60 days later. And of course, Donald Trump equals 60 as well. Again, there's 4 base ciphers of the English language. Alphabetic order. A is 1 up to Z is 26. Reverse alphabetic order. Just going Z is 1 back to A is 26. And both orders with numerology applying. Again, this wasn't made up by yours truly. I learned about it from the 1926 book, The Secret Teachings of All Ages by Manly P. Hall. But there's been a whole lot of 60 with Trump that we've been documenting year after year now, nonstop. And it really is transparent. I mean, if you just start to pay attention. The problem is the average American has no idea what these elections are. So if you went up and surveyed the average American and you said, hey, the 2024 election, what number for presidential election was that? How many people do you think would even know that it was the 60th U.S. presidential election? You're talking about such a small percentage of people. I would have never known the answer to any of this until I started researching why these people were into number rituals. I would have never known that it was the 60th election. If I was somebody who'd never heard about any of this and never got the inclination to look into any of this, and somebody came to and said, hey, 2024 election, what U.S. presidential election was that? I'd have to take a wild guess. I might do like the math from 1776 and like, oh, it must be this, but that wouldn't even be quite right because the first one wasn't in 1776. As we know, though, it's the 60th. And as we know, the biggest Jesuit ritual there ever was 60. Remember, the Jesuits, their first decade with the Roman Catholic Church, their order was limited by the Pope to 60. Trump's one of these Jesuit-educated people. But 60 weeks into the first ever Jesuit Ignatian year, July 14, 2022, that's the day Trump's ex-wife fell down the stairs and died. 45 years after their marriage, like he was formerly number 45. And then he buried her on the 201st day of the year, July 20th, 2022. The day she died was the same day that Trump said he'd run in the election, which was the 60th. And it was the same day, and please don't be the next person to say, I just looked it up and that's not the day he formally announced. Just go back and look up the headlines from July 14, 2022. It was the day that he said, I'll be running in the upcoming election. We covered it that day. I still remember that day like it was yesterday because we covered that story in the morning, and I said why he did that. I said, look, you guys, it's 60 weeks into the first Jesuit Ignatian year. He's going to run in the 60th election. Then later that day, I did another short video because then it came out, conservatives against Trump based on 60 legal cases saying he's not fit for office because he has all these legal problems, and it was based on 60 legal cases. I said, okay, did you guys watch my video earlier today? You know, I'm trying to get away from putting out all the shorter videos because I'm trying to figure out if there's a way I can do better in the algorithm than we've been doing, or if we're just permanently shadow banned, or if, again, it's just... Anyway, it seems like we're permanently shadow banned. That's how it feels, but... You know days where I'll pump out like 8 5-minute videos. So that day, that was video 2. I said, look at this now, you guys. Another 60 ritual, 60 legal cases. And then later that day, then it ultimately breaks. Now his ex-wife's dead. I was like, come on, you guys. All these stories in the same day, 60 weeks into the first Jesuit Ignatian year. And the next thing you know, it's Alvin Bragg and a million other stories. Look at the comparison between Donald Trump the braggart and Alvin Bragg. I mean, just look at it. And let's type in indictment as well. Because that was the first big indictment, right? The Alvin Bragg indictment. 4860, all those words perfectly, just like Donald Trump, forwards and backwards. And again, now the 60 Minutes and putting the Public Broadcasting Corporation out of business after 60 years and 1,000 other things, really. But here, this big moment. We've been talking about this date in connection to Trump and the Berlin Wall for literally a decade. You can go back and read my older posts on my website. For a decade, been talking about this. And back then I was saying, JFK, his assassination was synced up with his speech at the Berlin Wall. For years, I was speculating on when the Trump assassination story would come because it was foreshadowed in 1,000 different ways. And don't forget that in 2016, they said he survived an assassination in Nevada on November 5th. It was just like a small sub-headline. It seemed like it should have been a bigger story. But then, of course, this time around, the election's on November 5th. And you get this bigger assassination story, perfectly synced with Robert Kennedy. Like we told you the day that Robert Kennedy got in office, that it signaled some kind of assassination story coming for Trump again. But yeah, just, again... Big ritual today, Trump talking to the European Union, getting prepped for, again, his meeting with Putin in 2 days on the Jesuit order's birthday. And look, today is the 201st day of Zelensky's age. I mean, are you kidding me? The Jesuit order 201. He's with the European Union 201. Let me pull this up too, because I just discovered this, a month or two back, and I shared this the day I figured it out. The European Union. Wait a minute. Let me see if this is where I put the post. Unless it was one of those things where I didn't write it down and I just shared it in the stream. Hold on. Shoot. The treaty that created the European Union also equates to 201. It might have been one of those things where I just shared it in the stream and didn't make a post about it. But yeah, if you look at the end of the treaty that created the European Union, the name of the treaty also equates to 201. So again, you look at all these examples, you say, yeah, there's no way this is a coincidence. And again, just the Jesuits have this super long history of 201. This whole war with Russia, Ukraine has been one 201 ritual after the next, which we've been talking about since before the war even started, when Biden and Putin met on Pearl Harbor Day, 201 days into the first Jesuit Ignatian year. And remember, the contested region that Russia wants is the Donbass region. And the idea is, by the way, look how Donbass region's also 60 days after Trump's birthday, 201st day is Zelensky's age. What Russia wants is Ukraine to concede the Donbass region. So today they're meeting before the meeting, where the speculation is that Trump's going to go along with what Russia wants. And, even though this is all a puppet show, in what world, I don't even want to get into it. I was just going to say, I mean, there's no way that a little tiny nation like Ukraine could ever defend itself from Russia. Not to mention they always do. It's just like if the United States, again, broke into parts and one of the parts was California and another part was Rhode Island. Rhode Island can't beat California. California is so massive compared to Rhode Island. Unless the world intervenes and helps, which has been the story, right? Especially the U.S. spending all this money on keeping Ukraine in the game, but how sustainable is this? Everyone's spending all this money. They're blaming what's going on there for inflation, high energy costs. The story is, this has to end. Again, we'll see when they end this show. Do energy costs come down, or is it going to be like, oh, look, they ended Russia-Ukraine, but now, boom, here's the new. It's not always an October surprise, but here's the new world surprise and the new problem that's an even bigger problem, just like how when they winded down Cooties 19, all of a sudden it was Russia-Ukraine. And we've covered that 1,000 times. And again, what was Cooties 19 simulated with? Event 201. So, and who put it on? Oh, a Jesuit, Klaus Schwab, and et cetera, et cetera. But and just the fact that Zelensky turned 47 5 days after Trump takes office, and of course Trump's 47 like Ukraine, and we told you years in advance this is going to happen. And then for anyone who's like, how do you know though that it's the I mean, look at it. The Jesuit leader, today's the 274 days after his birthday. The Jesuit motto, Isus Hominum Salvator, the sun-worshipping order. When the Catholic Church has celebrated the sun's birthday as Christmas Day since 274 AD, and the Jesuits' logo's the sun. And it goes within the 16th century when the Jesuits were created, the heliocentric model was established when heliocentrism equals 201. Sun equals 54 like Jesuit order. So yeah, Trump, Mr. Wall, right? The Berlin Wall. Construction began on this day 64 years ago. Trump's Jesuit education began in 64. 64 spaces on the chessboard. Don't forget that International Chess Day is the 201st day of the year, and it comes out of Paris, France, just like the Jesuits. Trump, the election was called for him on November 9th in 2016. This time around, he wins the 119th, he wins the election and takes office with the 119th Congress. Keep in mind, tarot cards equal 119, and there's 78 in the deck, and this time Trump takes office at age 78, and he's trumping everything. But yeah, look how perfect it is, you guys. And like I said, the day that it happened back in 2016 when they called it for him, I said, come on, you guys, the 27th anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. And what's funny is when the election was called for Trump, it was probably about 2 or 3 weeks later that we started looking at reverse gematria. So I didn't even catch the 45 thing, but I still remember, oh God, do you know the song, The Delphonics, Didn't I Blow Your Mind This Time? If you've been here long enough, you know that the first time I presented reverse gematria, I had for the background music, The Delphonics, Didn't I Blow Your Mind This Time? And what I did in that video is I just covered like the last month's worth of stories. I said, look at all these stories, you guys, adding in, running the gematria of the alphabetic order in reverse. I was like, doesn't this make sense? Trump, it was the 27th anniversary of the fall of the wall, but look how Ritual's 45 in reverse. Just like Berlin Wall's 45. And I said, look at it the other way, 63, like Serta. Remember, he did the mattress ad years before that, talking to Digital Sheep, 11 and 9. 2016 is the 63rd triangular number. Then it made super sense why Muhammad Ali died on June 3rd in 2016 in light of the Prophet Muhammad dying at 63. But that's why as soon as I learned reverse gematria, I just instantly saw how it was clearly a big part of the code because everything made even more sense. And that's why when people come around and like, forwards and backwards, 4 ciphers, it's like, okay, instead of your just instant jerk reaction, not knee jerk, but jerk, like you're a dumbass jerk reaction, how about actually looking into things and seeing how improbable it is that it would all be this way And it's also like, you know, back when he was 45, his wingman was Mike Pence, which is 45 forwards and backwards. That whole year leading up, I'd been pointing out the 45 with Mike Pence. And then once I learned the reverse, I was like, whoa. Whoa. And keep in mind, 45, it's like the Jesuit acronym, IHS, 45, right? Which means Jesus Hominum Salvator. So this ritual on the anniversary of the Berlin Wall is perfectly coordinated with the Superior General today. How it all comes together. And again, here was Trump in 2016. Remember, Hillary conceded while Trump was on 248 electoral college votes. President Donald Trump equals 248. When he won in 2024, the country was 248 years old. Oprah had her ritual with Kamala 47 days before the election in Oakland, Michigan, which is the 248 area code. And again, it was Oprah in 88 who asked Trump if he'd want to be president someday. We know Trump just came out against Oprah and Beyonce and Al Sharpton 42 days after his birthday. A whole nother story. The old race code. But this kind of information, yeah, like I noticed quite a few people have like posts about this on Instagram. You guys, that's yours truly's legacy. Nobody else was showing this stuff back then. So it's good to see that other people in the world have their little memes that they've made. And too bad everybody doesn't have a meme made about this. Too bad everybody in the world doesn't know about. Again, just literally mocking us. If you've never watched this Serta ad with Trump talking to sheep, it's easy to look it up. Just type in Trump, Serta, they'll never count sheep again. The ad should pop up. That's literally what they say. They'll never count sheep again. Trump talks about being born for the job, and that's literally the same suit and tie he wore for the 2016 election. That commercial came out, you know, here it says 2009. I'm not exactly sure that's the right year. In my mind, when I researched it, it was either like 2010 or 2011. It might have been 2009 though, because he does say looking good in number 9, looking good. When you add 1 through 9 together, it equals 45. But yeah, again, we're just living these planned out scripts. And then check this out too. We're starting to realize how important composite numbers are. And it's funny because composite numbers are so simple. It's part of the reason I never even really considered it. Prime numbers made sense to me because they're more rare, but they definitely are using the composite numbers. 119 is the 88th composite number, and we call Trump Mr. 88. Again, think about the election being called for Trump on November 9th, 119, when Trump equals 88. And again, 119 is the 88th composite. It's like Oprah asking Trump in 88 if he'd ever want to be president someday. A lot of 88 rituals with Trump. Purple equals 88. Again, he came out to Queen. We are the champions 88 days after the Queen's birthday. Bill and Hillary considered him purple. Mr. Purple Rain died. Prince, as well as Vanity, his girlfriend, the day of the 58th Grammys in the year of the 58th election, when Purple Rain also equals 58. After Trump announced from the 58-story Trump Tower. And this time around, he gets 58% of the Electoral College vote, and it's synced up with the Pope's 88th birthday. And then the Pope dies at 88 on the 312th day of Trump's age after Trump gets 312 Electoral College votes. And then we get the first Chicago Pope, or first American Pope from Chicago, the 312, which reminds me, Candyman died the day that they called it for Trump, and Trump beats Kamala, who had the DNC in Chicago, and she spoke on the anniversary of Huey P. Newton's death, who died at 47. Anyway, this 11988 thing, this time Trump takes office with the 119th Congress. Look at what CNN's emphasized phrase was for Trump this morning with the story. Trump says EU leaders want to see deal done. Want to see deal done. 88. This has been going on. I've been talking about Trump and 88 in the headlines nonstop since the day he announced he was running for president. That's over 10 years ago now. And we just talked about how this meeting was set with Trump and Putin on 8/8, the anniversary of the Mar-a-Lago raid, and every year there's been a Trump ritual on. I mean, the thing about Trump is there's a damn ritual for the guy every day, but there's been some of the bigger ones on 8/8. And look at this. From the anniversary of the start of construction for the Berlin Wall to the day it fell, 88 days. Isn't that interesting? And now this meeting with Zelensky virtually and the EU leaders on this day. The thing that's interesting about that is it's Wednesday this year. This year it falls on a Wednesday. Wednesday's named after Mercury, the trickster, and Mercury has an 88-day orbital cycle. Maybe we should look into 88 days from now. Well, we know what 88 days from now is, huh? It's November 9th. Yeah, maybe we should remember that. Maybe we should remember November 9th in the time of the 119th Congress. Don't forget that in Jewish gematria, Donald equals 119. He does have that 119 connection. But yeah, also just before this mega ritual, again, I don't know how many times a guy can be on the internet talking about the Jesuits being the puppet string holders. For the guy who's lurking right now, driving around in his car, who doesn't make as many videos as he used to, and I know you're listening, you've spent a lot of time in the last couple years saying like how dumb it is to blame Jesuits. Why don't you call in today, stop pretending like you're not listening, because we know you are, and explain to me why we have the latest Jesuit ritual and why Trump and Putin are meeting on the Jesuit order's birthday, when yours truly has been pointing it out all along. Why don't you call in and tell me how it's not the Jesuits and why you think that is? Is it because you really don't think that, or is it because you're kind of like a butthurt guy that just because, you lost a few debates and got proven wrong and got caught with your pants down, now you just have to go against the guy who's putting out the most truth in the history of the internet? And let's not undermine what it is, because that's a fact. There isn't anybody else who's worked their ass off for 12 years straight, because it is 12 years straight now, of putting this kind of information out and proving my point in spades, and it's a damn shame more people haven't picked it up. And again, I do mostly blame Google for that, because this work was reaching a lot of people once upon a time. Thank you to Yerme Yaua. I probably said that wrong. I'm sorry, man. Probably he said he had a nice day with the baseball picks. He's already patted his pockets today off the knowledge. Rockies do it again, you guys. Rockies keep the opponent on 35 wins, and God, were they home or away? But this number been hitting hard with the Rockies this year. A lot of nice upsets with that. Played again today. Again, it's sad that more... And the guy I'm talking about who drives around his car, he's made a lot of money off this knowledge in sports, and even has a video still up on his channel shouting out the work, and then he just turned into this hater. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. I think the problem with a lot of people is they can't put themselves in my shoes. They don't understand what it is to be the truth speaker from the time you're 18 through your 40s, and to get the kind of ridicule you do and to hear the kind of shit you do from the populace that's just dumb as hell, sloppy as hell, the Andrew Wilson types, the Samps. I don't think you understand what it's like. Unless you've been speaking out for almost every damn day of your life since you were 18, you shouldn't judge the way that I talk about things, because, again, you got to experience yourself to know what it feels like. And I think I'm right to be fed up with the American populace. It doesn't mean I gave up on them. I still get out here and teach every day, but I still know what I'm up against. And sometimes I think that, maybe some Sanf actually listens to my video. They might actually take a look in the mirror and say, am I a Sanf? Man, maybe I don't want to be a Sanf anymore. Maybe he's right. Maybe I am a Sanf. Now, that would take some humility. Some people do have it. Some people do have it. I know there's some people who've come across here and done things similar to that. Those people are probably few and far between, but again, a lot of these people, they just can't be won over. That their mind's been polluted and ruined by the system, and might as well throw them in the wood chipper. And until that happens to enough of them, there's going to be too many of them that keep dragging us to the bottom. So I'll keep ranting about it the way I've been ranting about it. Wake up or perish. Anyhow, to recap this point too. Russia sold Alaska to the U.S. Isn't it funny how it was on 10/18? That date comes up a lot, doesn't it? That's the day of the Event 201 simulation. A lot of things in history is ever since Event 201 happened on the day, we're like, man, they use that date a lot. 10/18. Is it a tribute to Satan? Because Satan comes to Earth in Luke 10/18, like how when Lil Nas X did the Satan shoes. Was that before or after DMX died on his birthday? I forget. But when Lil Nas X did those Satan shoes, he put Luke 10:18 on them. Supposedly there were 666 pairs made with blood in the soles. By the way, you guys, for all of you guys who struggle to do well financially in this world, there are so many ways to make it right now. Shout out to my nephew. I don't think he watches this channel, but he just recently graduated from college, and he didn't do as well academically as his big brother. His big brother actually went to the Jesuit school, not that he's just... he got accepted there, and they have a great engineering program in Washington State. And in a way, I kind of wish he hadn't gone to the Jesuit University. He was there and graduated in the time that I've been speaking out against him. But you know what? Their school system is good. You got to give credit to the Jesuits. Their school system is good. Not everybody that goes to their school system is bad. Anyway, he got an engineering degree there and got a pretty modest job. And then his younger brother, who's never has been as good academically, just went to the University of Oregon Ducks and kind of just skated through school, chased girls. And he just graduated this year. And he started this side hustle while he was in college. And it's funny, I had a buddy in high school that did the same thing. Buying rare shoes and then reselling them online. Sorry, this is one of my mind talking about Lil Nas X. I just got to share this to inspire those of you guys who are hurting financially. Anyway, he started buying rare shoes and reselling them online. And he has turned that into a 6-figure business. He's making more than his big brother with the engineering degree who has the superior education. And I think Big Brother's a little bit sore about it. Yeah, so, but again, you guys, there are just so many avenues in this world to do something, and you just got to put your mind to it. And apparently he had a passion for it's just like my high school buddy. My high school buddy did the same thing. It was when the internet was new. I remember he was doing that. He was buying shoes and reselling them online. I thought that was so weird. And anyway, turned it into a 6-figure business, you guys. He's just fresh out of school, and he's not even working for the man. He's probably just, I imagine he'll probably be an entrepreneur for all of his days. But yeah, there's a lot of different things you can do in this world if you get creative. So I just found that out the other day, and I was impressed. I was like, wow, good for him. Good for him. I told you the story about him years ago. For people who've been around, he's the one. He had a fallout while he was still in high school with mom. Years ago, I told you he took the spray paint can and the baseball bat to the house, but he's made a turnaround. He's doing a lot better in life these days. And that's the thing too. If you feel like you're down and just life is just destroying you, because that's how he was so fed up with the world back then when he was raging out, destroying his parents' own home. Well, his parents were going through a divorce at the time, but he's got it all straightened out now. I think it's about 5 years later. Might be 6 years. Time flies. Anyway, coming back to this, 158 years ago, Alaska was sold by Russia to the U.S., and now this meeting on 15/8 in Alaska between the leader of Russia and the leader of the U.S. And don't forget, Russia is where the Jesuit order was preserved in the time of their suppression, with how many Jesuit priests per their own history? 201. Biden meets Putin 201 days into the Jesuit Nation year. 1,201 rituals since then, including Biden signing off on $95 billion for Ukraine and Israel on the 201st day of the war. But now this, the thing with Zelensky today, the Jesuit order's birthday. The people who want to say it's not the Jesuits, what amount of evidence do you need to see that it is? It didn't convince you that, how the two towers became zero before they became one, and that started a 20-year war in Afghanistan and the Middle East. And on August 15th was the day that we pulled out. And not to mention it was the 487th birthday of the Jesuits, which is the 93rd prime number, and Afghanistan's the 90+93 international dialing code. Oh, boy. But yeah, isn't it amazing that money went a lot further back then? $7.2 million for Alaska. Wow, what a deal! And think about that, you guys. The reason that what would the value of Alaska be if you sold it today? $1 trillion? I don't even know what the price tag is. Probably something like that. Maybe more than $1 trillion. I don't know. It'd be ridiculous. You need 1,000 times a million to get to a billion. You need 1,000 times a billion to get to $1 trillion. That is what the central bankers have done to the U.S. dollar. It's like you hear your grandfather tell you, oh, for younger people, maybe your great-grandfather still alive. Man, for a nickel, I could take my girl out to the shopping, get her a pair of shoes and a dress, take her out to the movie, get a nice dinner. It was a nickel. It's like a nickel. You all do all that this weekend. It's going to cost you. You're probably going to be like, you might have to pull out a second mortgage. Popcorn, man. They're charging like $20 for a bag of medium popcorn. You kidding me? But yeah, 7.2 million. Funny enough, Putin's 72 right now. Jesuit order's also 72. President Trump 72. So is President Biden. They're both Jesuit educated. They both have a lot in common in the numbers there, Trump and Biden. Remember, Trump, he can only beat women in elections. He can't even beat elderly old men who are seemingly not there. That's how bad this guy is. And it's all masonry jokes, too, because Freemasonry is only for men. And please don't be the person that says, that's not true. There's the Order of the Eastern Star for women. Is that called Freemasonry, or is that called the Order of the Eastern Star? Oh, right. Yeah, Freemasonry is only for men. All right, let's move on. Remember, Freemasonry 58, like you won the 58th election, and then this time you got 58% of the Electoral College vote, and both times you beat women, and the first time Hillary put out a book called What Happened, which equaled 58. It was about why she lost. Okay, so again, August 15th leaves 138 days left in the year. Here we are again. It's also going to be 138 days after the anniversary of the treaty that was signed between Alaska and Russia, preceding the sale. Did I say between Alaska and Russia, preceding the sale of? I keep saying Alaska and Russia. March 30th, 1867, 158 years ago and change. That is the anniversary of the U.S. and Russia's treaty that preceded the sale of Alaska from Russia to the U.S. I'm pretty sure these nations have really been one and the same under the same Jesuit power the whole time. That's probably why the sale was 7.2 million. That would explain a lot. Remember, Paris is another word that equals 72, where the Jesuits are from, where a lot of the founders studied. But yeah, again, it's a damn shame that more people don't pick up this knowledge. And, you know, these losers like Andrew Wilson, who supposedly are big in the manosphere. It's like, manosphere? Listen to this loser. This fat Samph can't open pickle jars? Manosphere? This guy's the definition of a pussy. And he's also a moron. And that's the problem with our society. You know, a lot of moronic losers that don't know the difference between that and the real deal, like what you get over here all day, every day. And anyway, I'm just sick of reading Trump's threats too. There'll be severe consequences. I mean, this guy's just throwing out threats left and right, and then it seems like then nothing ever happens. Remember earlier this year? If every last hostage isn't turned over by this day, it'll be hell to pay. It's like, okay, that day came and passed, and there was no hell to pay. Well, I take that back. I mean, but it's been hell to pay the whole time. Of course, the war over there in State of Israel, 201, has been a bunch of 201s, and they have been, killing a lot of women and children and bombing water lines and food lines and blocking baby formula, which is the craziest thing I've ever heard of it really in my life. A nation blocking baby formula to fight Hamas. And in what world? Sounds like something that we'd read about in his storybook that a Small Mustache Man did. And remember, you can't say Nazi without Ashkenazi. And those people are from where the war is going on in Russia, Ukraine. Isn't it funny how it all fits together? And don't forget, the name on Adolf's birth certificate is Adolphus Hitler, which equates to 201, and he did model the SS after the Jesuits. A lot of people want to downplay the Jesuits, but one of the most notorious things in history is modeled after them. So, let's see. Shout out to Nathan with the big 5. Leper Messiah says, let's get it, people. I always appreciate Leper Messiah's continued generosity and hype. And then thank you again, Rick James, who usually comes in. Appreciate it, Rick James. And Dale. These are the 4 amigos. Thank you guys for always being so supportive of the work. Rick James, member for 29 months. It's amazing this channel has existed for that long and has so few subs and views. They clearly did something to allow a channel to finally exist, but it's just not allowed to get any views. And then I did try to start a new channel, and I still have not been approved for live streaming, so that's why I kind of made me not follow through with that channel. What are you gonna do? Let me see what's buzzing here in the news, and then we can take some calls. And I do have to wrap it up a little bit earlier today. I got to wrap it up in about 20 minutes. Clapper. These names. Clapper. Allegedly pushed to compromise normal steps to rush 2017 ICA emails show. Is this back to the Hillary Clinton 33,000 emails? You remember that one? Clinton's 33,000 emails. Remember when the fake truth committee was like all alarmed about how big that number was, just like overlooking what's right there, the 33,000 Clinton emails deleted. I don't know if this is the same story or not. Mom Donnie's radical policy. There's the 33-year-old who surprised everybody on Freemasonry's birthday, right before the shooter who went up to the 33rd floor. By the way, King Richard, when I watched the stream with Austin and Logan at UTTV, I did see you mention that. I didn't miss that detail in the story. The guy who went and shot up the building, the 44-story building that the NFL headquarters are in, they had a detail that he left on his road trip for New York on June 26th. From that day to the day of the shooting was a total span of 33 days. So there was another 33 besides just the 33rd floor. And don't forget what's up with June 26th either, the day he left. It's like 26/6, like Jesus Hominum Salvator, like the first Jesuit Pope was the 266th. It's also the 177th day of the year, like the Jesuit order's also 177. Run it in reverse, it's 201. Yeah. Great research as always, King Richard. King Richard's been asking me to decode the death of a rapper on 8/8, but you already did the full decode. You said he put out his hit song, which equaled 201, and it came out 88 days later, and then he's dead on 8/8 when rapper's 81. I mean, what's left to say? R.I.P. It's sad, man, but we see this stuff all the time in the world of entertainment. Whoops, that's not what I want. I want the BBC. The BBC. I got to be careful with that audio clip. That could be turned into some kind of compilation where I meant something different. European leaders tentatively hopeful after call with Trump ahead of Putin summit. Gaza talks to focus on releasing hostages all in one go, Netanyahu hints. Well, they've tied these things together. The war in ancient Khazaria with Israel, where the Khazarians now live, like when they gave the $95 billion on the 201st day of the war in Israel. And don't forget that the House passed that before Biden ended up signing on the 201st day. But they passed that bill on Adolf's birthday, April 20th. Hey, no ritualism there. It's all just a big coincidence. I hate how it's such obvious ritualism every day and nobody catches on. It just drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. I guess that's why I get back on here every day and present again the next day, thinking the world's going to catch on today. One more day. By the way, that's the nice thing about exercising. You put in hard work every day and exercising, you will definitely see the results. You put in hard work in the truth community. Sadly, hard work doesn't necessarily pay off because big tech, almighty big tech, can just shadow ban you into, you might as well not even exist. And then promote losers like Andrew Wilson. It makes me sick. You guys know that the night that he did that debate, he made $10,000 off that debate, and he didn't even bring anything intelligent to the table. He made $10,000 that night. Good God. Shout out to D26. He says, India, China, Russia are in news recently since Trump ruined the economic ties with India. This pushes the sentiment for BRICS creating their own currency. Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. It remains to be seen when it will happen, but you got to imagine at some point the torch will be passed from the U.S. being the world's superpower. 201 is technically a beastly number. I think part of the reason Event 201 was on 10/18, where Satan comes to the Bible in Luke 10:18 is the phrase. There's a phrase in the Bible for Satan. It's in one place, that old serpent. And you see how it's 177 and 201, just like the Jesuit order. And you might have noticed it also had the 60 and Donald Trump, the Year of the Snake, his snake poem, running on the highest degree of the Church of Satan, winning the 60th election right before the Year of the Snake kicked off 9 days later. So, yeah, there is a beastly connection. And don't forget, the Holy Bible is also 60 and 201, and Trump did put out a $60 Bible for the 60th election. Don't forget that either. The Trump Bible. Okay, let me open up the phone line here. We didn't have any calls the other day. What was up with that? All right. The number is open. I just need to connect this to the call board. If you guys want to call in, we should be good to go. On Monday, we didn't have any callers, which was a first. Everybody's bored of gematria, I guess. Okay. Let me put this somewhere where it's in front of my face. D26 says, this is eerily synchronized with me. I'm staying away the entire night, so I'll try to call you later if you're available to. You just try. If I'm available, I'll pick up the phone, friend. You just never know with the baby. Some days are more hectic than others. Her teeth are coming in right now, so she's fussier than ever, as was evidenced in yesterday's video. And man, my mom told me I didn't sleep until I was 1.5 years old at night. Maybe it'll be the same thing. If that's the case, she turns 9 months on the 16th, so we're halfway there to 1.5 years. And this teething phase has got her not sleeping hardly at all at night. So sleep has been a real disaster. There was no, as far as I know, there was no pre-order money for 38 Special. I dropped the ball on finishing my part of the book. I don't know what you mean by Nas concert tickets. I have no idea what you're talking about, but that book and my book both need to get finished. And yeah, I mean, yeah, I am failing when it comes to finishing the books. I gotta own that. So there's no doubt about that. I do apologize. 484, what's up?
Hey, are you there? Sorry, I might be experiencing some lag.
Yeah, I am here. You just got to talk through the phone, not the video. The video will be lagged.
Oh, appreciate it. Thank you. Some observations. I put in all capital letters 2026 pandemic, and I got 1, 2, 3 in reduction. And I also got 201 with the EHP exception. I had to max out the ciphers on that. I did a little bit of digging there, and they put this in the, who is it, John Hopkins, when I searched 2026 pandemic prediction. I was just going to search 2026 pandemic prediction, came up in the auto suggestion. So this reminds me of World Economic Forum reports where they talk about things happening and they give a specific timeline and then they do. Like the 2018 World Economic Forum Future Jobs Report talked about a pandemic, and they gave a timeline that matched the COVID. Anyway, sorry.
I'll just remind you, since you did draw, I mean, it's interesting finds. Just the word virus, China, plague, COVID, they all have that 26 connection. So I hope you're wrong, but I wouldn't be surprised. I
Oh,
mean, at
yeah.
the start of this year, they put together their pandemic declaration on Cannonball Day, again, the day that the leader of the Jesuits got shot. So,
And
you know, it's
Trump
only
rolling out the National Guard.
yeah, I'm hoping that their next major event isn't until 2039, but you know, I won't hold my breath. So, interesting decode.
I'd say just if anybody, because I barely know what I'm doing with this stuff. I do look up to you guys for being able to keep this straight, but they include a fake newspaper article. When you search 2026 pandemic prediction, it's under John Hopkins. I'll be reading this tonight. That at least I can handle. But you got October 17th, 2025 is a fake article start. The lady is 42 years old. Minnesota paper. It's a fake article they include along with it, but the numbers up there, you can probably make something out of them more so than I can. But it's in mid-October 2025, so that could be the October surprise there.
Well, let's hope not, but you never know with these people.
But
you never know.
I'll chase it.
All right.
Hey, thank you for staying and doing this. This helped me quit drinking. I appreciate it, man.
Hey, I'm glad to hear that. Appreciate it. Thank you.
You too, man.
All right, take care. I quit drinking in my early 20s because all the dumbest things I ever did in my life, I was drunk. So I had to say, okay, no more drinking. Now, granted, I can control myself when I drink occasionally. I can't remember the last time I drank was. It's been a long time. I remember our neighbors, we had them over for dinner in March, and they brought over a bottle of wine, and Sweet Lady's like, I don't drink. I was like, we should have had a glass of wine with her. You're not pregnant anymore. They were like, oh. Sometimes there's such a thing as being too straight edge, but no, I don't drink. The only time I will drink is like in a situation like that. We're out with some people, they made some drinks. Alcohol. Every single thing probably not every single thing, but almost every single thing I regret in my life has to do with alcohol. Okay. The line is open. The person who was trying to call in over and over while we had the last caller in. Oh, there he is. I was gonna say, now the line's open. Now's the time to call in. What's up, 903?
Hey, I just wanted to say, I don't know if you've seen the last season of King of the Hill, the new one.
I've never seen an episode of King of the Hill. I'm aware that 2 people have died recently connected to the new King of the Hill, but I've never seen the show. I'm aware of it, though.
Yeah, that guy, John Redcorn, his name, I think, is Johnny Joss.
Yes.
And it equals 38. And the last episode, they have him like presenting a graph, and he's like, my profit margins are going to increase by 38%. He's like selling this product to kill boars. And that's the last thing they show of the last episode. And then it like cuts off to pictures of his real, the real person, and is like in loving memory. It's pretty crazy.
It is that. They do it all the time. And you know, every time a new sports season starts, it's always right at the start of the season. Somebody who works in the industry will be dead, and it'll be like the opening night game, and they'll be like, oh, tragically, after 38 years with the network, he just passed last night. So RIP to him, and condolences to his wife and his 2 daughters. And it goes on every year. I'm like,
yeah,
people see this every year. Does somebody just drop dead in the industry just out of nowhere, surprisingly, the night before kickoff? I mean, that's why I get annoyed with the general public. I'm like, is it because everyone's drunk? Is everyone drunk right now? Did you not hear it again? The same thing again? It drives me nuts, man.
It's so obvious. It's like creepy, honestly.
It is.
Because I'm like, if that really equals, murder, killing, and that they have his character presenting a chart, and that's the only number, and then it's like pictures of him, I'm like, that's pretty twisted. Like, that's some dark shit, whatever's going on. Because if they had his actual character, like if they used his voice to record that episode, which I'm assuming they did, or that last season,
I'm sure they did.
then
I'm sure they did.
yeah, it's just crazy.
So you're
It's
saying in the
crazy.
last episode of the
that.
new season, he gives a stat about 38%. I didn't cover the 38 because, like you said, Jonathan Joss equals 38, like death, like murder, like killing, like R.I.P. The same pair.
His name equals 38.
So where can I watch?
And,
where can I watch the episode? Is it streaming somewhere?
Hulu.
I don't have Hulu. Shit.
Hulu. Yeah, that's what I watched it on, anyways. But if you can watch it, it would be pretty interesting. It's the very last thing they show. It's like, and the whole episode's weird. It's about investing in stocks, and the stocks are based on killing boars, basically. And so they have all the characters like coming up with ways to kill these boars. And I guess at the end, they use John Redcorn's feed to kill the boars. And he's showing Peggy and Hank just how much better the stocks are going to do. And he's like, they're going to increase by 38%. And then, the whole series ends like a minute later. Like, that's literally like the last thing they show. And then it's like in loving memory, and it shows his actual, Jonathan Joss, the actual guy. Yeah, I was blown away. I was like, what? I don't know, yeah.
There's a lot of that in the world of entertainment once you're aware
like
of it. And imagine you don't have this knowledge. You don't even think anything of it, right? It wouldn't even dawn on you why any of that would even matter. And that's why they say knowledge is power.
Right. Like, I'm like, there's no way they just picked a random number. Like, there's no way. Like,
no, there's nothing
and the fact his name,
it goes to show there are people.
So it blew my mind, honestly.
There are people in this society that are very aware of what we're talking about on this channel. They don't go around and share the secret, but they're putting it all the time in front of your face. They're the people who edit the news, clearly, the news cycle. They're the people who put out the world of entertainment. Again, you guys, I'm watching this Walking Dead show for the first time. Again, the word killing, the small way, is 38. The big way, it's 74. If you go back and watch The Walking Dead in season 6, remember that's the season they let out all the zombies that they're trapped behind the cars. There's an episode where the main character's new love interest gets eaten by the one of the zombies, so he goes in a fit of rage and he just goes out with his axe and he just starts hacking all these zombies, and then the rest of the community falls behind him, and it's just like nonstop killing on the screen, just zombie blood splattering for like 10 straight minutes. But you see when it starts, he starts on the porch with address 74 behind him. We're always talking about 74 and killing. And then after they finish killing all the zombies, they all meet back on the porch and they're all just sitting there exhausted, sitting in front of this big 74. Well, the next time that they show the 74 is in season 7, episode 4. And they got it right in the center of the screen with the guy dressed up as a priest. And the next scene, Rick's going on a tangent in the church again, like Jesus is 74, gospel, all the Jesus stuff, Society of Jesus, Rome. It's so obvious from news to entertainment how they use these numbers so ritualistically. And if you're aware what they mean, you're like, look at how they did that. They show the 74 right before they go on this massive killing ramp, because there's nothing else in the show like that up to that point.
Totally know what they're doing.
Yeah, there's nothing. There's a lot of killing in The Walking Dead if you've seen it, but that's what I'm talking about. After his love interest dies in the camp, and I haven't seen the rest of the show, but up to that point, there's no other killing scene like that, because it's literally like 10 straight minutes of slaughtering zombies. So anyway.
Oh wow. Yeah, I haven't seen that, but yeah, it's crazy. No way it's a coincidence.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I had to call in with. Just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. Thank you.
All right, later.
All right, take care. Yeah, that was a great call. So yeah, we talked about the death of the 2 King of the Hill actors. Again, his name on the show is John Redcorn, 61, dead on June 1st. His lover, who's gay, said he was killed because he was gay on the first day of Pride Month. He died at 59, like Pride Month. The news didn't break until the next day, June 2nd, like King of the Hill, like sacrifice. And then, yeah, I didn't even take the time to do the screenshots for the 38 because, I'm a broken record talking about 38 and death and murder and killing and the Murder by Numbers movie poster and 1,000 other things. Pentagon 38, the nation's killing department on the 38th parallel. I learned earlier this year watching somebody else's channel doing a tour in Vietnam, that in Vietnam they have a tribute to the black soldiers who died. In Vietnam, they have a tribute to all of the black soldiers who died in Vietnam, how disproportionate it is. And don't forget, the first troops were deployed to Vietnam on March 8th, 3/8. But yeah, a lot of black, and that's what MLK was talking about too, just even with
Hello?
the racism in the war. What's up, 561?
Hey, what's going on, Zach? How you doing?
Doing well, thank you.
I just wanted to call to see if you did an update on Steph Curry's grandmother that passed away at 76 years old.
At 76. San Francisco, 76.
Yeah, she died.
Okay.
And I think she died 88 days from her birthday. He was, yeah, I think so.
California, 88. Poison, 88. Let me see. Is that breaking today?
No, this happened a couple weeks. I mean, I'm trying to look because I posted it on Facebook when I did it.
Sports Illustrated
but I was
put it
just
up
wondering why it
August
didn't make
1st.
it.
Sports Illustrated covered it August 1st.
Okay. Yeah. So that's when I posted. I'm trying to look. For some reason, I can't find my post. But I was just trying to break down how it was 88 days after her 76th birthday. And, you know, Steph Curry is born in 88. And of course, he was born on Pi Day. And there was a lot of 88 rituals that was going on around that time. It still is, actually.
Yeah, that's right. He's born in 88, right.
So I just wanted to know anything about it. Yeah, he was born in 88. That was around the same. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, just reading the first paragraph of the Sports Illustrated article, it says, Stephen Curry's hinted on Friday that life has thrown him a lot of jabs recently in his 14th anniversary post of wife Aisha Curry. Dead equals 14. So the story's going to go on about how his grandma's dead for the 14th anniversary post. Go figure.
Yep. And his first name, his real name, Wardell, equals 42 in Gematria, like Jesuit. Well, you probably knew that already, but I was just looking up some stuff on it, and I thought I seen a 56 connection, the next connection with the Society of Jesus as well. Let me see.
Once upon a time, he got a $201 million contract. I think 2 contracts ago was the $201 million contract, if I'm not mistaken. So.
Right. Yep. 201. Another 201 connection.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was born on May 6th. That's why I wanted that was a 56 connection.
Well,
she was born on May 6th and she died on the day they had it.
You know the virus that's people got a lot of shots for, the 56 virus, and a lot of people died from the jabs.
Yeah, he was 56.
I'm thinking about that with how they keep using jabs in the Sports Illustrated article. So.
Oh wow! I got to go check the article out. But I was just wondering if you had caught it, because I know it's been a lot been going on, so there's a lot to keep up with.
The first paragraph uses the word jabs 2 times. Yeah, the Sports Illustrated article uses the word jabs 2 times in the first paragraph about his grandmother's death. Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. And they just put it right in our face all the time. I don't know. That's why I get so pissed. Mm-hmm. It's like they just hiding it right in plain sight. And then you try to tell people what time it is, they want to look at you like you're crazy.
Exactly.
Or they want to do everything and, try to discredit you.
Exactly.
But it's like,
that's why I rant about people the way I do. That's why I rant about people the way I do sometimes, because these people make me fucking sick, man. These people are pathetic. Yeah, how can you be looking at us like we're crazy when we're showing you how they're mocking your ass every day, and then all you can say back is that I'm crazy? Man, fuck you. That's how I feel every single time. I wish I could throw these people in a wood chipper like I was in the movie Fargo. If you've never seen the movie Fargo, you should see when they're throwing them through the wood chipper, because that's exactly how I feel when these people talk to me the way they do. In the wood chipper.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I mean, they are useless eaters. Well, that's how the elite look us. But it's like, they're really, they're not even trying to apply themselves to try to understand this matrix we in. They just, they're willing to take anything they've been told. This, I don't know. I feel like I be dealing with zombies a lot.
Exactly. They are. They might as well be. They are the Walking Dead. They're the real Walking Dead. Yeah. I think he might be cutting out a little bit, but yeah, I didn't realize that. And nobody's going to question the death of anybody's grandmother, but
she called herself, she called the police or what? But the police ended up arresting her.
You cut out, so you're cutting. You cut out, so I didn't hear who's calling the police on who.
Oh, Gorilla, when she got arrested, it was a result of, I guess, her calling the police because she got robbed, or I don't know, somebody she knew got robbed her house, whatever, but she ended up getting arrested, and it was a 76, and I know her name equals 76 and 59 in Gematria, if I'm not mistaken.
Go figure. Okay.
And it was around the same, it was around the same time you had all these other 76s, just like with Ozzy Osbourne, who had died at 76. And then you had Rick Ross' little shaman ritual that came out. I think it was, I don't know if it was 76 days after his birthday or whatever. But it was just a lot of 76s just hitting. I was just wondering if you kind of touched on that. That's all.
Well, we know what the 76 means in Black history, right? There's a reason the feds recognize Black History Month in 76. Again, slave, Negro, blues, Rasta, all that.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm sure that has a lot to do with it. More black shaming rituals by the same old numbers, spreading the stereotypes, the programming. So, yeah.
Right. Oh yeah, and I got one more. LeBron James' ex-teammate, Bronny James. What's the young man name that played? He plays for the University of Georgia, but he played AAU basketball with LeBron, son back in the day. He wears the number 64 for the University of Georgia. And he got caught, I guess, some type of drug charge. But I don't know if it was 64 days after his birthday or something. It was some type of connection. I just did a little read up on it. I was wondering if you might have caught that one as well. But
I'm not familiar with who you're talking about. Do you know the name of the person?
I'm looking for it right now. God dang. Okay, hold on. It's Jazere Jackson. Yeah, he was arrested on drug charges. And let me see. It was exactly 144 days after his birthday.
Well, his last name is Jackson. What's his first name?
Jazere, Jahzare. I think they call him Ja for short.
Oh, yeah, I see it right here. Okay, I'd have to look into that story.
Yeah, but I noticed. Right, and let me see. His last name equals 73 in Gematria. And they happened 144 days after his 21st birthday. And
I see what
64.
day that news broke.
So,
a part of me, this might sound crazy, but a part of me wonders if they did some weird rituals on my 42nd birthday, because as we know, LeBron James is 42. It looks like this news broke on my 42nd birthday. That was the same day they had Eric Adams out there talking to the people in a 42 hat. I was like, why is this happening on my 42nd birthday? Are you kidding me?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, man. You know, these folks watch you heavily. They watch you and act like they don't watch you. You know what I mean?
Well, how I got on the map with a lot of people. How I got on the map with a lot of people was showing all the LeBron 42 stuff starting in 2015 when I really locked into that, how much 42 stuff they were doing with LeBron. So I know that's how a lot of people came into the community. That's why I'm like, okay, the news of his friend on July 21st. Okay, that's weird.
Yep. And so that's LeBron's son's friend that he played ball with. That's his son, Bronny James.
I see.
I didn't even do any seeing if there was any connection between him and Bronny. But you know, they've been doing rituals with LeBron and Bronny since his college days. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's some kind of way synced up with him.
I wouldn't either. I'll look more into all these stories because I didn't know about any of them until now. So I appreciate all the tips.
No problem, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you. You have a good day. Appreciate your call.
All right, you too.
All right, take care. All right, I gotta go get Sweet Girl, you guys. So I gotta wrap it up there. So I gotta shut it down. Thank you again to everyone who hit the like and the share. Thank you to everyone who supports the work. Thank you to the usual suspects with the cash apps today. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, you guys, have a good rest of your day. Maybe get some weights in your hands and just see how far you can walk with those weights before you're ready to drop them. I'm telling you, I did that today, and I burned way more calories in an hour than I had with my first 2 days of workouts. Real quick, is there anybody else who's real into fitness and tracks how many calories they're burning in the gym per hour? My thing had I told you 420. I thought, what a number. I almost wanted to go get a joint. 420 in an hour. That was bigger than that was day 3 of getting back in the gym, and 420 was the active calorie. Plus, there's even more calories in that from what your body's naturally burning. Somehow the watch is able to, or at least estimate how much you burn from exercising, plus what you burn from just existing. But it was the 420 additional from working out, and my best in the 3 days prior was right about 300. So 420 is quite an improvement, and it was just walking around nonstop, carrying heavy ass weights. You think 420 is pretty accurate? You go to the gym all the time, open up. Do you track those things? What are you burning an hour right now? What's the mark I got to get up to? How much is open up burning in an hour? Open up's doing gematria decodes while he's in the gym though too. That might be cutting into his calorie burn. The D26 says that's good for the 3rd day. Yeah. Appreciate that. We got a long way to go. Maybe my community is not that active in the gym. Let's all get more active with our exercise. We got to keep our bodies right and our minds right. And like I said, pretty soon my walking pad's coming. You guys might never see me sitting again. I might never sit again. 500 to 700. Yeah, you're going hard, man. Okay. All right. I appreciate that. There's the next milestone. Woo! 500 to 700. We got ways to go. All right, you guys. We'll leave it there. Until next time.